Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading with the nightly video update for Wednesday, November the 13th. And we'll start with the S&P and see what's going on with the overall market. And if you have been watching during the day lately, it seems like the last week or two, we've had some very just strange price action. It is all centering around 3,100. You guys know for I don't know, it seems like 5-6 weeks now I've been kind of targeting 3,100, and now that we're here, we can't seem to make up our mind if we want to go through that or pull back. So let's dig in and look. Let me reduce that. And we'll look at the ticks here in a second. But just for today's price action here, we were a little lower overnight in the ES and came down here to 30.78. And then we're just kind of off to the races all day long, just, buy the dip, slow and steady, and then we get here. This was I don't know if it was a tweet or news that said that China may not agree to the $50 billion of agriculture products that are included in this phase one of this China agreement. And then we had a big draft down here, and then we're kind of trying to decide what to do, and then we just resumed and came almost back to where we are, and then we kind of faded in the end during the day today. So again, kind of very I don't know, not consistent price action for sure, news driven with big gaps and so forth. But again, let's take this thing out on a little bit longer time frame and take a look. So you can see from lower left to upper right, we've just been chopping higher. Now within, this looks pretty easy on a 5-day chart, but each day got a lot of chop here, big gap up and a fade, and a big gap down, and then it's kind of chop and run into the close, chop, 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 big gap up, fade, gap up, fade. So and again, all this to me is centered around 3,100. We continue to push that, higher, higher, higher. Again, lower left, upper right. We're getting there, but then the market just seems to kind of have stalled out here. So again, it all continues to revolve around this 3,100. Let's even go back out a little bit further, put it in more perspective here. This gives us a better view. Now we've been talking about this, again for quite a while. This run. Now we are extended by every metric. We're extended. I came up more on the fundamental side, so I'm looking at the catalysts to either have this market continue higher or not, and it's China trade, and that's what's been pushing us. The Fed, has been pushing us, but that news is out. Fed came out and said they're not going to be as aggressive cutting rates and all that kind of stuff. We already know that. The China deal, that we'll have good and bad news on that, but we are almost through earnings season now, so we're kind of out of news except for direct, China news. So I guess the bottom line, I think we're kind of more likely that we either get some bad news or we just take a breather and come back, because we could pull back. We've had such a long extended run off the low here. We could pull back 50 points, 100 points, and still actually be in an uptrend, and it wouldn't be anything, it wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. And I think that's ultimately what happened. I just don't know if we get over this 3,100 first, break through that, and then pull back, or pull back and then go higher, and that's kind of what we're always dealing with, is this a turning point or not? But the reason it's more important now is I think we might be in one of these kind of places in the market where, maybe we just start rolling over this way, or this way, or a little bit higher before that happens. Again, we know that. I think everyone's expecting the same thing. Carbon copy with the NASDAQ, the same way. In looking at the Russell, we've kind of come up here to this, it's not exact, but there's kind of a 5 top. We broke through there, and we've hit quite a few times. We kind of got over it, but we look like we're kind of rolling back over here. The rut, it has is small caps and has a majority, or has a lot of exposure to financials, energy not doing well, etc. So I think this does come back. It's been playing on its own field from the S&P and the Nasdaq for a long time now. But again, everything to me looks like we're due in very short term for some type pullback. So all that being said, I mean, we know all that, and we've been, if you guys have been in the trading room, you've seen, we've had quite a few really good earnings trades, through this earnings season, and things are still working good. You can still make money in this market. It's just it's getting harder and harder to find stocks that aren't super extended or at all-time highs, that type thing. And even though they look good and may want to buy them, you got to be, keenly aware that the overall market is very extended, and it pulls back, and then all the other, stocks come back with it. So again, just, as usual, be careful out there, and use tight stops, and just be aware, be aware of your surroundings, I guess, for lack of a better word, around 3100, because we break through, and then we do have a voodoo tree line up there at 3118, which is probably the next stop. And after that, I think we're going to be pretty extended. We are now, but if we do break higher, I think it'll be short-lived. So just again, tight stops. Be careful. Watch that 3100 level. I do think this coming Friday, 2 days from now, is option expiration. I do think we have a pretty good shot of pushing higher. If we break that 3100, I would look for probably 3118 on the upside by Friday. And if we don't, I think by the following Friday we'll either be 3118 or we'll be at 3020 or somewhere. But we shall see. We take it day by day, right? So with that, let me wind it up. Hope this is helpful, and have a great rest of the day. Thanks.